Welcome to Creative Flux, episode 16.
Hello, what's up?
It's a cool one today because now we're both in the same city. We're not physically recording this together yet. Maybe one of these weeks in the coming, we'll do this together. Welcome to San Francisco.
Yeah, thank you. It's awesome to be here. I'm still like, it's not hit me yet, I feel like, but I think once I walk out and some homeless guy yells at me, I'll be like, yes, we made it to California.
You gotta go walking around, especially next week. Such a great time because with Tech Week next week,
Yeah,
I feel like downtown's going to be very bustling. I haven't even signed up for any events. I need to look specifically on like the generative media ones. I assume Fall and Replicate and 11 Labs will be doing something, but I haven't even looked. So
yeah. No, but it's crazy. So for people who don't know, what is Tech Week?
yeah, well, Tech Week it's hosted by A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz, a major venture capitalist firm. It's a bunch of just events that go on in the city. They're just all independently organized. There's one major calendar that you could submit your events to, but it's all independent, and companies, venture VC firms, everybody can just like host their own events, put it on this major calendar. Everybody comes in from around the world to do this, and happens in SF, New York, and LA. SF being probably the biggest one, maybe New York pretty close. I went to the summit in LA last year, but it's not the same vibe. It's not like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like a bunch of independent events. I think it's like 1,000 events on this calendar. It's
Wow.
actually nuts. It's like I tried to look through this and I was overwhelmed. There's things for founders, there's things for marketers and builders and VCs and law, and is there
Yeah.
everything you could imagine, I guess. So
Yeah.
pretty
No, it's
cool.
awesome having that kind of like just getting all those events together. There's something about the atmosphere of having this kind of conference. I remember I went to South by Southwest, which is I think the biggest conference in America. It happens in Austin in around February. And for 1 week, literally the town of Austin doubles in size. It's insane. And it was crazy. I don't think I even paid for an event. I mean, there were paid events, but it was just so much stuff going on there, people just shouting, and it's like you really get immersed into the thing, and then the other one was Eat Denver, which was a crypto focused conference, and
Mm,
I mean, it's just a lot of fun. It's also like very cool too. I mean, because you can just meet so many people like in that area you're interested in. I really like like with E10, obviously it's focused on crypto. So with Tech Week, I'm guessing, obviously AI is gonna be at center stage. So it's just a great opportunity to just come together and just meet a bunch of people who are interested in the same things you're interested in.
totally. It's super interesting. I mean, there's also some big speakers, some big names, Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz. I think they're doing like a big like keynote type thing, but I don't know where that actually is at. But
Right.
yeah, there's some speakers as well there, and a bunch of featured events. Creativity in the Age of AI. What is this? HSBC.
Oh, yeah,
That might be
because
like the perfect one to go to. Actually, like right at top,
HSBC.
I
Yeah,
just see it.
because when I think creativity, I think a bank. Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, yeah, because like the speakers there at yeah, global head of innovation at banking, HSBC, and then there's Disney Accelerator, which is interesting for us. Yeah, there was
Disney.
actually an interesting thing I saw yesterday. Well, we'll get into this in TikTok and Oracle and everything. So everybody probably is aware that about a year ago there was a bunch of talks about like TikTok being shut down, and they have to divest. The Chinese ByteDance has to divest and allow an American company to own the algorithm and the data of U.S. citizens, and kind of split TikTok into like a U.S. version. And then Oracle came in, and Larry Ellison was like, "Hey, we'll be the good American company that come in and make sure that your data is safe from Chinese CCP as a like a political thing." And so
Right.
like that, this was like a whole like drama over the course of a year, you know. And I was watching something yesterday, so I think this is going to go through, and that's what's going to happen. Like Oracle tying this back into Disney. I didn't realize that Larry Ellison's son, David,
Mhm.
is the president or CEO of Skydance, Paramount.
Mhm. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I didn't make that connection. I didn't realize he was there. And they're putting in a bid for Warner Brothers to take over Warner Brothers. So you have Ellison's David Ellison, the
Right.
owning a major Hollywood media empire, and then you have Oracle owning TikTok and that side. And I was like,
Correct.
that is crazy, because also in the AI, they're both like very, very pro AI,
Right.
AI in movies, AI in shows, AI in
Mhm.
like I was like, this is kind of nuts. I didn't
No,
realize.
it is very a very slept on story, but it was one of the probably the only reasons Paramount stock I think like go went up a little because Paramount has nothing going for it,
Right.
compared to Disney or Netflix, etc. But suddenly, they Papa Ellison's infinite money the pot is open to Paramount, and so that's why they were like, okay, yeah, maybe there's a chance here they can just like outbid for good content, etc. And just ramp up. It's a very on a more general level, I find the Ellison, it is kind of shaping up to be a dynasty right now. People think of dynasty, they think of the Murdochs, like Lachlan Murdoch or Soros. And I feel like the Ellisons are shaping up to a dynasty with David Ellison now kind of making, inroads into media. So it'll be interesting to see like you know, how this plays out
Right.
and what kind of, like how, what's his worldview and how much of that is enforced, you know,
Totally.
via the company.
Yeah, it'll be super interesting. And I think the reason why it's relevant to talk about here on Creative Flux is because like they both said they're very pro AI. Obviously, Oracle's one of they're building so many data centers, they're pro
Also
AI.
pro monitoring and stuff. That's like another thing with Darius. And he's very much because he used to work for the CI, right?
Right.
I mean, that's how he started. Like he was Larry also is I respect the shit out of him. I mean, he's amazing. Like he was a programmer at the CI and he came across a server, DB2, I think it was called that. Then that was the first SQL server, basically. And he was like, oh, I like this. Let's start a company around databases. And he started Oracle basically with like
Right.
$1,000 of his money or something like that.
It is a crazy story. And they've
Yeah.
just been around for forever too, which
Oh
is
yeah, yeah. They're OJ. They're older than Microsoft. Microsoft SQL, MySQL came later, right? I mean, it's like Oracle is a pretty old database.
right.
But
No, for sure. But like also though, the interesting thing in this in regards to media is like obviously we have, we were just talking about Skydance, Paramount, or whatever, Warner Bros. But then tying that into the TikTok deal, Oracle, what influence are they going to have over the algorithm and everything and prioritization of content? User generated, AI generated, will like how will AI generated content on TikTok perform? But then
mhm,
also going into Sora, because Sora 2 today was or yesterday. This,
mhm.
this week was released.
Right, right.
But Sora 2 was released this week, and it's essentially an AI TikTok that you can generate your own videos with, right?
It was yeah. First off, like let's kind. I mean, there are like two sides here that are very
Right.
interesting. First is just like the quality of the model. I mean, we've talked about this before. It's a funny. I think last week maybe you asked me a question about would OpenAI release to video generation, and I said of course it would because for me in my head they're a consumer tech company first. This is like nothing. I mean, they saw the ChatGPT moment with image. They saw they had the ChatGPT moment. Then they had the ChatGPT image moment with GPT Image 1. And now, I mean, video was obviously, if they had nailed it, it was going to be as big, if not bigger. And it seems like they delivered on that front. The Sora 2 quality is pretty good, amazing. Like, we'll talk about some of the things you can do. But the examples I've seen, at least, cherry picked as they may be, they were just amazing. Like, they were like, a lot of them I could not tell if they were AI or not. I mean,
Right.
really makes it past that uncanny valley.
So and
Yeah.
so like so Sora 2, I mean, we've talked about Sora in the past and how it just they launched it or they released Sora, then they didn't actually release it to the public for a while. And then
Yeah.
at that, by the time public actually had access, you had all these other open source, other competing labs release their own video models. How does Sora 2 and the examples that you've seen today
Right. So,
compare with
yes.
other models?
So this is where I mean the second angle becomes important because unlike other features, this wasn't just a model release; it was an app release. So what they actually have an app where like a TikTok or whatever, like you say AI TikTok, where you can generate Sora and you can share it. And I think because of this unique because it's an app, they had to be less of elitist, quote unquote, in a way, because the lifeblood of a social app is having people. So they did do an invite code only release. So you need an invite code, but the invite code, honestly, it's like super easy to get. Like you just literally Google invite code on Google or sorry Twitter or whatever. You can get an invite code. 5 people sent me an invite code, so I just like added it. So it's not exactly the elitist, but I get why they had to do something because you want to create some hype. Yeah, that's
Right.
just what OpenAI does. So I think it's one of their more accessible releases, surprisingly. And it actually, I am a little surprised because I've talked about this before. How OpenAI always their quality always tends to be the best, but it comes at the expense of compute, which means priciness. And the fact that they're just opening this up so much to which I mean, their mouths are the biggest in the industry. I mean, 500 million or whatever. I imagine that's a shit ton of compute they have to account for. So, it sounds like either they have the compute or they are not. They are they are hoping that it won't be as big or crazy as the image one was. So
So if you have an invite code, are you able to use it, or do you have to have a ChatGPT Pro or Plus account and then invite code, or is it if you just have invite code, you get it?
well, that's a good question. I have the ChatGPT Pro, and so I think
Right.
that
I don't
you
know
get that.
either. I was just curious if you
I
did
didn't
know.
download the app. So what you do is you download the app, and then I'm sure there are
Right.
some restrictions for you. I wonder if you can make any videos though, if on the free tier.
Right. So yeah, I mean, how was your experience in the app? Like, what were your first impressions? What was like the standout things? Consistency, speech, audio,
Right.
like
I can't speak to unfortunately the app because I literally just got it like 10 minutes before we
yeah,
like.
I wasn't sure if you
But
had the
I've seen the output videos, which are very interesting. They're obviously we talked about the quality. The quality is really good. It's very realistic. It's got audio too, so it's I would say at par with VO3. Some people say VO3 is still better. I at least based on the again, it could be cherry picked examples. The examples looked way better than VO3 at least to me,
right.
and way more realistic. The other thing which they've done, and this is why I mean, OpenAI does consumer. I mean, this is the I mean their super percent is consumer. Obviously, I mean, they build great models, but they understand consumer psyche and hype. Sam Altman understands that. They made this feature called Cameo, and the Cameo is basically what you do is you take your own image and or you record a video and audio and you can create your own avatar, so quote unquote, that you can use in your videos, but also crucially you can share it with other people. You can make it public and then people can do it. So I saw like some people like influencers like Justine Moore and Alexandra Bortez. They made their avatar public, which I mean, sounds kind of bad, but my immediate thought was like, I mean, you're just giving up your rights of your, image. I mean, I guess technically, I mean, everything's public. I mean, anyone can just screenshot me right now or take my recording. But there was, it's funny. It's an interesting transaction because you're saying, oh, just go crazy with this,
Right.
my imagery, and then people can do all sorts of stuff with it. Obviously,
Yeah, it's super interesting,
within Sora, I mean, I'm
especially
sure there are some limits and stuff, so you probably can't do some really edgy stuff, but still, that's probably a when, not an if.
yeah, totally. So is the reason why everybody's creating videos of Sam Altman because he has his own cameo
He
avatar
was
of
the first one who did it, which honestly, that's an awesome move, right? As a CEO, you're like, I'm the first. I believe in this technology. Here, go crazy with my own. I mean, that's a pretty good PR move. You're
right.
like leading from the front.
There were
So,
some funny ones that I saw, like he was in I forget the name of the Studio Ghibli founder. I apologize.
Miyazaki.
Yes, but it was Sam Altman in his studio
Oh,
in
when he's
Japan,
yelling about AI to his
and he's,
engineers. And
like, stealing
yeah,
all his designs and running off with, like, the Studio Ghibli artwork. He's like, "I'm gonna go
that's
train a model."
That's hilarious. Yeah. No, I love it. I think it'd be funny if Sam Altman's avatar becomes like one of those like ubiquitous like AI avatar things,
Yeah,
It's
totally.
I was watching this show called Upload. I don't know if you watch it. It's an interesting show. It's basically, it's on Amazon Prime. It's when you basically in this show, when people die, they can upload their minds to the cloud and they live as as basically in the cloud. And it just comes with all these interesting, questions about like what happens when you live in the cloud. And one of the funny things is there's this actor who is the AI avatar chaperone in the community that this guy lives, the main character who's uploaded lives in, and he's like the actor himself is pissed because he's like, oh, they took my face for $1,200. Now and anyone now who interacts with him, they can't take him seriously because in their mind, he's the AI avatar idiot guy, and so he's like, oh, it's ruined my social life, it's ruined everything, So it's interesting, how that works.
No, absolutely. It is interesting. I have some questions, and I wonder if you know or if you have any thoughts around this. So, the length of the videos that Sora 2 creates, I've seen ones that are like 60 seconds plus, right?
Really? I don't have to look at the
Or
specific.
like decently long, like longer than the 5-second videos that we're kind of used to.
Right, right. But I wonder, is that like a one shot or is that people are just creating and stitching end frame or last frame? Yeah, I don't know.
That's my question because I saw some interesting ones where there's 2 videos I saw from Justine Moore. There was Pikachu in
Mm,
Saving Private Ryan, and then also Pikachu as the Dark Knight.
right.
So they replaced the characters like Tom Hanks. and
Yeah,
Christian Bale.
I haven't. I need to explore more, but I remember for Sora, what they did was they had this the UI itself, the way at least the website worked was you created videos with frames, and then you can kind of do a pipeline flowchart thing where you create
Right,
the next one, and then you can export the video at the end. So I wonder if you
right, right,
you
right.
think that. On this note, though, Kling actually came up with an interesting feature, which it's just I think it's just first and then last frame extrapolation, where you take the last frame off of clip and then use it as the first frame of the next one. But they call it infinite. I think it's called infinite generation. But basically, they abstract that away, which is I think kind of nice. You don't have to worry about last frame. You just go, I want this. And it just under the hood, I think it just does that for you. And I
Right.
think we'll have that because right now we're in this weird age. Like I'm sure, like within next year or whatever, we'll look back and be like, oh, remember we had to literally use FFmpeg to get the last frame and then use it, and that was so hacky. And now you just do it under the hood. So makes
Totally.
sense.
Yeah, it just makes complete sense to me. I'm like,
Mm.
why? Like we said the other day, like we live in a world right now where there's just all this scaffolding that
Mhm.
is being built around models in order to get to some output. And a lot of users have to be aware of the scaffolding. If you want to take full advantage of language model, of a video, audio model, image model, you either have to be aware of the limitations, build the scaffolding yourself, or use a platform that provides you the scaffolding, like Comfy UI or the Foul workflows, or any of these like kind of you have nodes and you connect them all together. But it's
Mm.
just complicated. I mean, like you really shouldn't have to do that. Like if you're going into ChatGPT, this goes back to what we were talking about last week, where it's interesting that
Right.
they didn't give the ability to generate videos in ChatGPT. It's probably a compute thing because they know that
Mm.
everybody that has access to video gen in ChatGPT will probably generate at least one video, and that's probably going to be
Right.
crazy. And that's why they created the separate app. Maybe one of the reasons that decided
Mm.
to make it a separate app. But yeah, I mean, like I don't see a world, I don't see a future where you can't just say, "Hey, make this longer, add this next scene,"
Mm.
and it just like stays consistent. You have the previous video, you just extend it,
Right. Yeah.
without regenerating the whole thing.
Yeah, it is interesting. What do you think of the I guess the big question is like right now, obviously, this is the honeymoon phase. They launched this app. It's self-contained. Crucially, it doesn't let you share on other platforms as easily. Like you can't just share to TikTok. So they're really banking on having an AI native TikTok style app, but self-contained. What do you think of this strategy? Like, do you think like it'll be sticky, or will people just move on, or is they it sounds like they're deliberately banking on the fact people will just be able to watch AI video, generated videos, slop, and they'll be interested, even when the novelty kind of
Yeah.
wears off.
I'm a little bearish, and this is my reason why. So I think we have platforms already that exist that users are there. You have
Right.
Instagram, you have TikTok, you have X. I think that those have already great network effects existing. So there's existing network effects, and I think that when you have Meta and you have those people, like Meta could very easily take Kling or take some open source thing, whatever
Hmm.
license fees they have to pay, and they add something into Instagram. They haven't done that yet just because
Right.
do they not think that the market is ready? That might be the
Well, they
reason.
did actually. We haven't talked, but Alexander Wang launched what Vibe? It's called Vibe videos, right? Remember?
Oh, interesting. Right, 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 right. I
Did you
saw
see
something
that?
about this. Wait, go into some more depth.
I think it's called Vibe videos, and it's basically that it's AI generated. It'll be a separate tab on Instagram where you just get Instagram AI generated videos. Which so it's an interesting. What you say, I agree with you. Because it is in a way, it's a feature. I mean, when you extrapolate, like AI generated videos are just videos, right? I mean, so when it gets commoditized and stuff, does it in the long run, when I say long run, literally the next year, like, does it matter if it's an AI generated video or a user generated video? I mean, okay, there's an authenticity aspect, but in terms of entertainment, right? I just want to watch good content that I like, right? And
Totally.
so I don't understand because they're making a separate tab on Instagram. This is AI native. Why not have a one single scroll? Like TikTok basically has a mix right now. So I guess they think that there is some utility in having just an AI generated scroll feed versus a user generated scroll feed. And I'm not maybe as plugged in to see understand why they
Yeah,
would be.
this like my opinion here is that this is a short-term play. I think that where consumers are today is they want to feel they don't want to break consumer trust. And I think that's the key. Is like when you go
Hmm.
into Reels and you see somebody there, you see an influencer talking about a product, you see something,
Right.
Your mind still associates that with somebody spent some time to edit this video and create this video, and that's like authentic. And then
Mm,
you see, hey, let me toggle on explicitly either a setting to allow AI or to have a distinct feed that's AI generated. And your mind is prepped to be like, okay, everything I see here is AI. You know,
yeah.
you could see some craziness. And I think it's a consumer trust because today I don't think we're ready to acknowledge the fact that whether it's traditionally recorded and created or AI generated, I don't think consumers are ready to mix those yet. And I think there'll be
Yeah.
backlash. I think there'll be, um, I think if you do mix them,
Right.
then people are like, they'll go to other platforms, they'll go to like other things, and they're just not ready yet
Right.
for that. And
I
I think
think
it will
no, I
come.
think you hit the nail on the head about like they're not being ready. And because as you were saying, it occurred to me, I'm like, yeah, there are some videos that, I'd rather be human. Like when it comes to a product review, like, hey, this mug, I don't want to watch an AI avatar, regardless of how good they are.
Right.
I want a real person to be reviewing the mug. But for watching a funny, like, Yeti joke video and stuff, you could argue that, especially as if you extrapolate the tech getting better, I would rather watch AI videos rather than real videos because they can have cool effects like dinosaurs in the background and stuff. Like, so for pure, like, just entertainment value, it might be there's a bifurcation where if I just want to be entertained, I want AI videos. But if I want real authenticity, something, I want human videos. I do think, though, having the tab, because I've noticed, I don't think most people want to make the decision of, oh, I'm in a human activity mode. I want this. I feel like, so maybe it's a short term thing where people learn, you get accustomed to it and they get good. But ideally, there's a router, like a video router that just based on my scroll, they're like, oh, you're in an entertainment video mode. Let me show you more of AI stuff. Oh, you want authentic videos? Here's some human stuff.
Yeah, totally. And I think it just be like very, just like the algorithm just prioritizes content based on what you're looking into and doesn't matter if
Right.
it's AI or not. And then, but I do see that, let's say there's a group of 10 people, friends, you have a friend group of 10, and maybe 9 out of the 10 will never click that AI tab. But one time, one friend clicks on that AI tab just to check it out. He scrolls, he has a
Uh-huh.
good experience, and he sends that to one of his other friends. And then like that
Uh-huh.
will open up that AI tab. You open that video. Oh, that was a funny video because there was dinosaurs like eating your head off or something crazy. And
Right.
then you
Right.
scroll and you say, oh, what's the next one? And that next video that's shown knows your preferences from your normal traditional feed. And then
Mm,
it shows you an AI generated video that you'll probably like because it knows your preferences. And then you're like, oh, this is cool. And you kind of are able to slowly get into the minds of people like, hey, like AI generated videos be good and cool. And then once you start to see like the time spent on that feed get to some threshold, you start to integrate it in and try to make those business decisions from
mm,
Meta. Because I think you have to do it carefully, and just because consumers aren't ready for the reality that is quickly approaching. So, but tying this back into like the original question about Sora and why they did this, and do you think it's going to be like a long term play or whatever? I mean, I don't see personally Sora being more than like a gimmick right now. I don't think
mm,
that OpenAI is absolutely a consumer product and they do consumer very well in addition to research. I think that they're trying to stay in the minds of consumer. They have a
mhm,
good, I don't know their org structure. I think it makes sense to say OpenAI Sora, people are familiar with Sora. They're going to be like no video gen. I think eventually what's going to happen is you're going to have the ability to create videos through ChatGPT, a unified interface. ChatGPT can do it all. And I don't necessarily know if a distinct app for just AI video is going to work. I think what's going to work is going to be a hybrid, like
mhm.
Instagram, where you can have both real people, AI videos, and it'll kind of dynamically change based on what
Right.
you're
Yeah.
currently interested in. And I think there's like having just AI might not be a long term play, but
Mhm.
there was a podcast I was listening to, and they were discussing like, oh, like why is OpenAI spending GPU and compute resources on building a slop generator when they can be curing cancer? And that's like kind of this thing that people have said, this quote. And what people don't realize, I think, is that OpenAI at the foundation, it's a consumer company, but it's also a model lab, you know. And where we are today in terms of model capabilities, you can very much so picture a the frontier models as a person, the smartest person in the world, give them every single piece of work in the world, and maybe video, but every single piece of written work in the world, and put them in solitary confinement. Put them in a room, no windows, nothing, give them the entire library of the world's knowledge, the
Mm,
smartest person, put them in the room. That's where AI models are today. They know everything. They're
Mm,
smart, but they've never been outside the box. They've never
mm,
seen the waves crashing on the ocean. They've never felt, a car collision and how that collides. World models and video models training with that type of data gets the models outside the box, gets
mm,
them to AGI. And I think very, very much that we cannot achieve AGI until the models understand the world that they live in, because right now they're living in solitary confinement in a box and they need to get
mm.
out. And Sora is just a stepping stone that they can create as a cool consumer product as
Right,
they approach that vision,
right.
but
Yeah.
not like a new track that they're pursuing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, the angle of using it as training data for more smarter models, robotics, etc. I think is huge. I think the other thing, which is I'm not as bullish. I mean, I don't know necessarily if it'll pan out. It's kind of like the browser analogy, where you got Perplexity making Comet or whatever, right? They're making AI. Oh, what if we make an AI native browser, right? But I still believe I'm a Chrome guy. I'll probably still be a Chrome guy because but I understand the play. Like, what if from the ground up you make a browser that just has AI built-in features, similar to with Sora? I think if I have to kind of make a case for that, is what if you built an app from the ground up on AI? You can do stuff like we talked about cameos, but other stuff like I can take a video, I can remix it, but because I know all of it is generated with the same model, maybe there's stuff like embeddings and stuff which make it much easier to remix stuff, share that, add another, edit the video, add another, swap out. You see somebody's videos, you're like, I like this, but I want to swap out a character with me. And you do that and you take it your own. So that, I'm not saying TikTok can't do that, but maybe there are some, just because OpenAI has one model and it's AI native first, maybe they can roll out these features faster and better than other apps. And they're banking on that fact that it
Mm.
can create engagement that TikTok or Meta won't be able to keep up with.
Uh,
I'm just okay. And I still lean, like, as with Chrome, I still lean on the network effects, these apps that they can still do it
totally.
with a good enough feature, but that's like the other side.
But I mean, this just goes back to what we were just saying before this call about like sometimes it's important to know what features not to release. And when
Right.
you already have an existing user base that's come to trust your product, to understand your product, when you get so big, it's much more difficult to roll out new features because of the innovator's dilemma,
Right.
because you've had some feature set and now you like if you launch a botched feature or something that doesn't work, you're annoying a lot of people that already came to trust your product, that your product's already doing well, and you don't need to mess around with something that's doing well. But when you're a new product like Sora, that everybody is a first mover, everybody's like at the very left of that technology adoption curve. You could just do whatever you want, and things could break. And everybody kind of knows that you're you're the 0.1% of the people that are ever experiencing this at this stage, and you're like okay and accepting of trials and changes and things and new features and everything changing all the time. And it's just like it's so interesting about like business in general. It's because like, why can't a big company do this? And it's
Mm,
because of that real reason. It's like they're big because and they just can't have these small experiments because they either don't shareholder value and they don't actually matter in the grand scheme of things, or you could potentially lose more than you can achieve. It's like why won't it's like that famous quote, like no CEO ever got fired by choosing IBM or something.
right. Right.
It's like, yeah, like sure, the founder or founder-led company, like you're not taking these big bets because like, hey, the worst thing that could happen is I lose my job and shareholder value goes down to nothing because I made
Mm,
some stupid bet. But if I just keep going and with my own playbook, like, hey, we're doing well, like I don't need to really innovate that much and I don't need to add like AI slop into TikTok algorithm and then I get fired because there's so much backlash and they put in a new CEO or something. So yeah, it's interesting.
yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's interesting. I agree with you. I mean, I definitely lean on the fact that I've actually criticized OpenAI because of that. I'm like, I think I said before that I wouldn't be surprised if they came out with their own Labubu doll, because I feel like they're all over the place. They're trying to build chips. They're doing this, and that makes me, my instinct to that is like a little bearish, because I feel like they're just diluting themselves. They're not really focusing on one thing, but at the same time, like you said, they've
It's
they they built awesome product. I mean, they've delivered before, and so maybe there is a grand master plan of using the data and training data, and
totally.
all this leads to the next frontier model, etc. So
I
who
think you have
knows?
to also like look at who Sam Altman is. Before OpenAI, he was the president of Y Combinator. He was surrounded by every year 100 or so different companies
Right.
that were able to cross pollinate with each other. You created like a microcosm of
Mhm.
really intelligent people that were able to talk and created the environment for them to communicate and share resources and ideas. And it's very similar in the way that OpenAI is organized, where you have like a group of core researchers, you have product engineers, you have PMs, you have like all surrounded by like bottlenecked by compute, and they all are like together working on their own little projects, kind of autonomously, but cross
Mhm.
pollinating ideas. And it just I think that's just an interesting and cool approach because it's less top down and more of, hey, we're going to do a lot of like little cool things. Everyone talk to
Mhm.
each other, and
Yeah.
some things are going to work, some things aren't going to work. Like, and you forget about the things that don't work. Like, you really do. Like, I was just trying to think, like, right
Right.
now, I was like, what's something that they released that really didn't work? And I know there has been stuff that they kind of like slowly rolled back, but I just can't think of it on the top of my head right now.
Well, I
Nobody
mean,
remembers.
the 4.5 was a big, like,
4.5.
failure.
Exactly.
I mean, they kind of still rolled it out, but then they were like, "Oh, we need the GPUs." I mean, they've done other stuff too. I'm trying to remember. They renamed a lot of stuff. Like, what was it? Similar to not Sora. Well, Sora is funny because they released it, but then they kind of took it back. I mean, Sora was kind of like just dead for a long time. They were still
Right.
building the new model up, obviously.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I
Yeah.
mean, they're just trying to move fast, experiment a lot, and there's something to that approach for sure. So,
Totally.
but
And
in any case, Aurora 2 sound, I mean, at least the output looks great. I don't know what the generation time is, but provided it's reasonable, I think this could be a very, um, great new way for them to get engagement, get the data,
right.
keep in the conscious AI consciousness in the world of, in the eyes of the world. So,
Totally.
we'll see.
Totally. And I know there's something else I just wanted to touch on before we wrap up soon, because last week we talked about X402 and payments. This week
Mhm.
also OpenAI alongside, was it Shopify, Etsy, was it Stripe as well? I forget, but they rolled out essentially shopping in ChatGPT.
Oh, really? I did not see
And
this.
so, yeah, it's pretty cool. Like they've talked about this in the past that that
Right.
you want to
Like
be.
you say buy me whatever, and then it just does it. An agent goes and buys it on Amazon for you or something.
Yeah, so I don't know if Amazon is in there. It should eventually be, because Amazon would probably be shitting his pants if you could go to ChatGPT, say, "Hey, buy me toilet paper," and like Target will always be the one that is pops
Right,
up
right,
versus
right.
Amazon. But yeah, like I think Etsy was it was a major one. I know Shopify is coming down the line, if not already there. But you're just gonna have your credit card information. ChatGPT
Yeah.
is gonna be signed into your Etsy account, signed into your Shopify, because Shopify already has the Shop app, so every Shopify store is available on the Shop app if you enable
Mm,
that. So it's just like a unified payment. It's like a Shopify is a distributed Amazon essentially,
right,
even
right.
though it
Yeah.
looks
No,
like
it makes
everyone
sense to
has their
partner
own
with Shopify
website.
with that because they're scattered all over, and so you
All
can.
right,
It's a great way for them to. It's kind of like GEO, SEO. Like it's another way to buy stuff.
totally.
I don't know. I mean, I can, maybe I'm just too much of a control freak, but even with all, I don't trust an agent to go buy it. I'm like, you can take me to the site, but I need to see it before I click buy. I don't know. I've always been
Yeah.
like that.
I think that's more so what it is. It's like it shows up a card. It's like, "Hey, like, can you buy me toilet paper, or can you buy me, like, this new thing?" And they'll go search, they'll find out, "Hey, here's, like, these 3 things I think you'd like."
Right,
It's more of like an improved search, I would say, and then
right.
you don't have to plug in your information, say, "Yeah, just buy it once it looks good to you," and you
Right.
approve it.
No, that's a cool idea. I bet you somebody's going to do this, but I think it's a fun. Somebody's going to build like a bot that focuses on a particular niche where you can get better results. But the way they monetize it, I think this is how you monetize. You make it all affiliate links,
Mm.
your account, and then it
Oh,
shows,
wow.
and then the agents are purchasing just through your affiliate accounts. Or maybe there'll be a SQL injection equivalent where as soon as an agent is trying to go to a link, you add in your affiliate link or something. You're going to see all kinds of
Mm.
stuff like happen.
Do agents, when OpenAI searches Google or whatever, or Bing, do they ignore ads? Do you know?
Oh, do they ignore ads? Like, you mean like to the agent itself?
Yeah,
Like,
does
or
the agent
oh, that's a
see
good
when
question. That's a good question. Whether the results they scrape are they sponsored or not?
right.
I have no idea. I've never really looked at that.
Yeah, because yeah, it'd be interesting. I know usually it's against terms of service to use an affiliate link and sponsor ads, but that'll be interesting there. And also the ads that, like, there is going to be an ecosystem of AI agent ads where
Hmm.
the copy that you write for an agent is gonna be different than the copy you write for a human. Humans are a little bit more hooky, clickbaity, whatever, and agents are gonna be more of like verbose and kind of, is this actually the right thing to buy? And so if you can nail that. So I think there will be like AI agent ad ecosystem where you're buying ads so the agent can see your products. I was also talking to a guy, his name's Andrea, and he has this company called Thread, and it's like inserting ads into chat bots.
Um,
And so as an advertiser, when somebody's like saying, "Hey, like what's the best AI podcasting platform?" You could buy JellyPod and you put JellyPod in there. It doesn't work with ChatGPT because they're not exposed, but there are a lot of like third party apps on the App Store that are just like using APIs behind the scenes that create chat,
all right.
and they're
Yeah.
like in there. And so it's just interesting because that's a great, like if you're searching for something in GEO or AEO or whatever, and you're asking for a specific product recommendation, as a brand, you want to be there either organically or paid because they're very, very high intent. So
Mm,
once ChatGPT adds ads in search results queries, like that's going to be every marketer's like number
yeah.
one priority. How do we get
I believe Gemini already has it, and they actually don't even make it opt in, opt out. So you have that,
interesting?
which I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't know. People are freaking out about it, but it's just better ads. It's like search. It's very equivalent. I think it's equivalent.
Like, I don't think people dislike ads if they're relevant. If they're not relevant, then people
Right.
hate them. But they're
I mean, as
relevant,
long as it's clear, it's an I mean, I think the bigger thing is where the AI, you ask an AI question, it says, "Oh, do this," but unbeknownst to you, that was like a sponsored thing.
right?
What I think what happens is they recommend stuff, and then you see with searchers, like you can see that's a sponsored post. This is, as long as you have that distinction, some sort of badge or something, makes sense.
Right, right. There's probably some interesting techniques right now to, like, create a lot of pages that are paid pages or, like,
Oh yeah,
promoting on Reddit or doing some, like, shady gray hat stuff to get into the training data, like, by paying today and existing forever in the future models. Well, episode 16, almost at 20. We're almost there, but, I'll get this one out, and we'll talk next week.
yeah, sounds good. All right, take care.